Hello, Guardians, and welcome to my Destiny 2 Arc Hunter build guide. It's player one gear, and I just want to share this build with you. I am having tons of fun with it. It's an Arc Hunter build that focuses on using the Liars Handshake exotic gauntlets, and it's going to deal massive damage. This build is going to be great just for having tons of fun, just punching the crap out of everything. And if you want to take a great, a little break from using guns all the time, this is a great build. One of the reasons I love this build so much is it doesn't really rely on having the best armor in the game. It doesn't rely on the seasonal artifacts, and it doesn't rely on weapons either. Though there are some weapons that can supplement or, benefit with this build. For example, shotguns with 1-2 punch would be a good addition to have with this build, just to shoot that shotgun and get some extra melee damage in there. But by and large, it doesn't matter what weapons you're using. I'm using a couple void weapons just so I can get the volatile rounds from picking up orbs. But other than that, the great thing about this build is, and I think it's better than the Assassin's Cowl, and I'll talk more about that later when we actually go into the build. And I know lots of you love Assassin's Cowl. I loved the hell out of it last season. Was my primary build I'm using. But this season, I think Liar's Handshake really takes the cake. The benefit is you get the healing on punches, and you don't have to wait to get the healing on a kill. So one of the best things about this build, I think, is you're going to be able to stand up to powerful bosses, powerful champions, and just trade blows and live to tell the tale. Now, granted, that's not 100% always going to work. There are going to be some very powerful enemies out there that can essentially stomp you in one hit. This probably isn't going to work going toe to toe with the raid boss, but strike bosses, level bosses in the current campaign, you're going to be able to stand there and just trade blows back and forth and again live to tell the tale. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and just hop into the build, and then we'll wrap this video up so you guys know what to do and you can get out there and play this build and have tons of fun. All right, everyone. So the great thing about this build is it's season proof, and you don't even have to have great armor. Like if you don't have good armor stats, you're good. The only thing we care about is resilience. So we get that bonus to damage reduction, that 30% bonus. That's all we care about. With our mod selection and the amount of damage we're going to be doing with this build, our grenade ability, our class ability, even our supers are going to be constantly recharging. Not only are you going to be spamming down melee kills with this build, but you're going to be spamming your grenades and supers all day long as well. And what this build revolves around is going to be the Liar's Handshake. Last season, Assassin's Cowl was the meta for hunters using a similar build, the melee beatdown hunter smash build. It was all about the Assassin's Cowl. This season, I'm loving this Liar's Handshake, and I'll tell you why. So the Assassin's Cowl, powered melee kills and finishers grant invisibility and healing. Now, with the Liar's Handshake, we don't get the invisibility, but we get, I think, better healing. So right here, you get healing on a finisher and a kill, right? So you've got to actually kill something. So what happens when you're going toe to toe with a champion, even a big boss, something that you're not going to be able to kill in 1 or 2 punches and get that healing? Well, that's where Liar's Handshake comes in, and it's this cross counter ability. So basically, if you read it here, using our arc melee ability or being hit by a melee attack will allow you to follow up with an extremely powerful melee counterpunch that will heal you. So what this means, you're going toe to toe with the big baddie and you're just trading punches back and forth. Every time you counterpunch, boom, heal, boom, heal. And even if they're not hitting you, every second punch that you hit on somebody, boom, that's going to trigger your health regeneration as well. That's why I think this has the advantage over Assassin's Cowl. And so let's go ahead, and now that we've talked about, the core component of this build, let's go ahead and get into our Arc Strider class. So show you what's going on here. Of course, it's our super, Gathering Storm. I think it's just the best hunter super right now. Gambler's Dodge. This one is important. We need it to have that recharging melee ability. That is the sole purpose we're using Gambler's Dodge, is we need our melee ability up and ready almost at all times. And of course, triple jump. Why would you have anything else? And then the next key to this is combination blow. The great thing about combination blow, it's a quick strike, temporarily increases your melee damage when defeating a target, and this stacks 3 times. So what we're going to do to make this build work is we're going to dodge, punch, kill. As soon as we kill something, it's going to recharge our gambler's dodge right back to full as soon as we get a melee kill. See, right there, defeating targets with this ability also fully refills your class ability and regenerates and restores a small amount of health. So we have something else here also kicking up our health factor. So that's how this build works. We're going to dodge, punch till we kill, dodge, punch till we kill, and so on and so forth, and keep repeating that because we want our combination strike. We want that 3x, that triple damage. Once you get that 3x combination strike, you're just going to lay waste to the battlefield. And of course, Pulse Grenade. I think it's the best grenade for the Hunter. It's fun, has a cool effect, it destroys everything, and you're going to be spamming these left and right. For aspects, Lethal Current. This is going to jolt targets, and it's going to transfer the jolt to other targets, and it's going to blind them. And the great thing about blinding targets is this is going to take out unstoppable champions, and our jolt is also going to stun overload champions. So right now we don't have to rely on weapons or a specific loadout to take down these types of champions. Our class abilities do it for us, so that's a win-win right there. Flow state, when you defeat a jolted target, it makes you amplified, and this is going to make our dodge recharge more quickly. And again, everything centers around that dodge. As soon as we dodge and then punch, we're going to have that jolting effect with our melee ability. We want our melee ability to be full. Dodging fills it. Killing something with that melee ability fills dodge. That cyclical process is what we rely on for this build. And of course, in between, dropping supers and grenades whenever you feel like it. As far as fragments, I'm using Spark of Resistance, Spark of Feedback, Spark of Magnitude, and lastly, Spark of Shock. So these are the best fragments for this build. And again, right here, our grenades jolt targets. We don't care about losing 10 discipline. We're going to be generating so many orbs and generating our class abilities to where this doesn't even matter. Alright, so now that we've got the key components here, let's go ahead and hop into the mods. On our head, we've got, well, of course, whatever modifiers you want to add here is perfectly fine. But Dynamo, so it reduces our super cooldown when using our class ability near targets. You're going to be in the mix of a lot of enemies, up in their faces with this build and dodging. So this is going to keep our super constantly generating. So like I said, you're going to be able to spam your super with this build. And then I'm using Void Siphon primarily because I'm using a Void submachine gun and a Void machine gun because of the seasonal artifact perk where picking up an orb of power is going to give our void weapons volatile rounds. And with this build, you're going to be generating stupid amounts of orbs. Like in a Defiance battleground, I drop at least 150 orbs or more by the end of the match. It's just ridiculous. Moving on to our glove mods or our arms armor mods, heavy-handed. So our melee final blows create orbs of power, and that's we're going to be doing so much melee damage. It's just you're going to be making it rain orbs all over the place wherever you are with this build. It's great. Impact induction. So also using our melee attack is going to help reduce our grenade cooldown. So our grenades are constantly going to be recharging. And also on top of that, grenade final blows are also going to create orbs of power. Again, we're going to be making it rain orbs everywhere. Your teammates are going to be happy. As far as the chest armor mods, put whatever resistances you want in here. These don't matter for this build. For my legs, I'm using two innervations here. So reduces grenade cooldown each time we pick up an orb of power. And again, the amount of orbs you're dropping, you're always going to have a grenade on the ready for the most part. And then just better already, just something else to give us a little more, something else that generates health. So every time we pick up an orb of power, boom, we get a little more health. So this build, we have 3 ways, between our exotic arms, between our fragments and our aspects, And this mod right here, we have 3 sources where we're regenerating health right now. And for the class, we're using distribution, so reduces all ability cooldowns when using your class ability near targets. Again, you're going to be using that class ability constantly. So our cooldowns are going to be reduced to hell with this build. That's why I'm saying recovery, discipline, intellect, strength, as far as all that stuff goes, not going to matter. You're constantly going to be refilling that stuff. We've got Bomber. So again, getting that grenade charged up as much as possible. Grenades on demand is a great thing. And Reaper, just something else to give us another another way of generating orbs of power. Again, orbs of power are going to be dropping left and right with this build. And I'm using Wishender as my primary exotic, just because with our classes I can drop overloads and unstoppables just by throwing grenades and punching the hell out of them. For those barriers though, it helps to have something that intrinsically can drop those guys too. That's why I love Wishender. Great weapon. Well, other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this guide. I hope you guys go out and try this build and have tons of fun with it. Out of all the characters, out of all the classes this season, the new Strand stuff, this is hands down the funnest build for me to play. I just enjoy the hell out of playing this build, and I hope you guys too. That's going to be it for today. I hope to drop some other videos with some different builds in the future. But thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I know I'm a super tiny channel, but throw me a like, give me a subscribe if you could. I definitely appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching.